All right, so this is fight 273 down on Phuket at Patong Stadium. And I'm fighting Gulapphet, which means the Diamond Rose. And I fought Gulapphet one time before at the same stadium, which was fight 262. So you can go and watch that one too if you enjoy this. Our first meeting was a KO. I won by KO in round 2. Up on the corner of the ring there is Dean Taylor. Dean Taylor is a photographer, videographer, and he very, very kindly videoed my fight so that Kevin could take photos. So we're going to have footage both from Kevin's camera and from Dean Taylor's camera. So there will be a little bit of switching in between, but that was very nice of him to help with that. In my corner is a trainer from Sylvie Muay Thai, who I've never met before, but Crew Pot, who's in the Muay Thai Library, I asked Crew Pot to get me a fight, and this is the fight that he got me, but he's not on Phuket. He was in Singapore at the time, so he sent some friends of his from Sylvie Muay Thai to come help me. Again, like, help from the community is very, very appreciated and nice. I was a little bit upset. It's since COVID and since the kind of rise of 3-round Muay Thai fights, it's become really hard to find 5-round Muay Thai fights. And this one, weirdly, is 4 rounds. So it's scheduled to be 4 rounds. All the male fights on this show were 5 rounds, but we're the only women and the only fight that was 4 rounds. I don't know why that is. It really irritated me. I was really upset about it. But I needed a fight. I wanted a fight. And, you know, making a big trek down to Phuket, beggars can't be choosers, I guess is the way to say that. I really like Patong Stadium. You can kind of recognize it from this circular lighting above it. I haven't fought there in quite a long time. I think it was the very start of COVID was the last time I fought there, so it's been almost 2 years between my last fight there and this fight here. I think I was feeling pretty good. It's been a little while since I had this fight. I'm voicing it about 2 months later because I had a really bad injury directly after this fight. It's not from this fight, but I was thrown from a horse like 4 days after this fight and really, really messed up my back. Got a lot of inflammation along my kidney and my spine and all kinds of fun things like that. So I was out for about 2 months and I'm just getting back now. So I'm voicing this well after this fight took place. But I was a little bit surprised, maybe, or at least I noted, that she does not do a Ram Muay, and I don't think she really did one our first fight, but I can't really remember. But sometimes that happens. Like, sometimes it's just a personal preference of the fighter. It's not that she doesn't know one. Down in the South, a lot of fighters might be Muslim, and Muslims don't necessarily do a Ram Muay. Usually they'll circle the ring and seal the ring and do a Y crew, but they don't necessarily do the Ram Muay. Here, we're switching to Dean Taylor's footage. It's a really nice angle. That's beautiful. So I haven't done my Ram Muay in quite a while because of this gap between fights that's been my reality for the past couple of years. Oh, that's not Dean's footage. Dean is across the ring there, so this must be Kevin's footage. Good job, Kevin. I've had some good experiences at this stadium with referees. They let the clinch go. They're very fair, they're good. I think I was like the 2nd or 3rd fight on this show, and so there's kind of a like very quick get ready and get in kind of experience, which I tend to like. I have a little bit of a like indent from my from my monk on there. So here, Dean's angle here. I didn't really remember how she fought. I think I went and looked at our last fight before getting in the ring, and I remembered that she kicks pretty hard. She came at me like right away in this fight. Again, scheduled for 4 rounds. That's not wildly different from 5 rounds, but she came hard right away. I think she remembered our last fight more than I did. But she has a nice aggressive right hand. I'm basically trying to stay close. Once I got her in the clinch here, I was like, oh, I remember our fight now. I'm very much like trying to turn around her in order to just kind of get her in a bad position. It's a first round, so I'm not really trying to, you know, end things right away, but I'm not super trying to limit what I'm doing either. I've been working on a lot of things with Yeokin Pon. I've been sparring with Yeokin Pon every day for about 2 years. And I was disappointed already, like at the very start of the fight, that I was not doing things that I'd been working on in my sparring with him. But this position, when I try to do this in sparring with Yeokin Pon, I can't really get there. So it's one of those things where you're really like struggling against the person that you train with all the time, but then you get to an actual opponent and suddenly it's working because they haven't been working with you on it for so long. So the other angle, if you look across the ring here, this guy with the camera, this is Jojo Immortal, so you can find him on Instagram. So it's cutting between his footage and Dean's footage. This drag back into the ropes with the knees. You can see the ref didn't even get close to us while that was happening. They allow some good clinching to take place. I'm really getting outside her arm here. You can see how she's kind of pinned across her own jaw, so she can't really get out of that position. Choking someone with their own bicep is a really good way to stagnate them or kind of get them in a position they can't get out of in the clinch. My corners were very, I don't know, calm, but like assertive in this kind of like, okay, yeah, do more of that, which is nice to hear that like there's not a thing that you're missing or that they want you to do so much more of. He wanted me to kind of pull her down more. You can see in that first round that I did a little bit of a yank down and drag back, and it was very effective. So he's like, just, you know, do more of that. And I think he was telling me to punch on my way in rather than just kind of grabbing right away. Very good advice right there as well. Definitely something I've heard a lot over the years, of like kind of work your way in to the clinch. I think the person who I kind of hear in my head the most is Long Sawan. Long Sawan came and cornered for me one time in Chiang Mai, and he was like yelling at me after the fight about how I don't like teep and punch on my way in when I come into clinch. And Long Sawan's such a clinch fighter, like such a dominant locking clinch fighter, that I was like, damn, this is like, you know, Michael Jordan telling you how to shoot or something. So here we go into round 2. So we're already now entering into halfway through the fight. I'm trying to control distance a little bit. I think I'm a little bit less barging forward in this round than I was in the first, and she's actually keeping me out with that teep and this jab. You can see she's cutting angles. I don't think she did that as much the first fight. But against a forward fighter like me, that's a really good idea to cut angles, because we tend to be quite linear when we're a Dern fighter. She got some good hands in there. I remember that, my face kind of turning when she got those punches on me. I was mad. So I just threw the first elbow. I opened up the elbow game there, and she took that invitation, raised me one. So I'm trying to punch on my way in. It's a little bit sloppy, but once I get in here, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm trying to use my elbows and my knees together. I think I'm getting a little excited. You can see this blood coming down the side of my neck now. She cut me behind my ear. This is a really, really painful place to get cut. It was in that little skirmish when I was coming in. Perfect to throw elbows while someone is coming in on you. She clipped me behind the ear. I'm letting the doctor know, I'm like, it's behind my head, it's no problem, it's not in my face, I can keep fighting. I keep telling him, this is fine, I can keep fighting. He lets me keep going in, which is good. But now I'm the one charging in and bleeding, and she very smartly is trying to keep spamming that right elbow to just hit the same spot or, you know, open me up somewhere else as well. It's a lot of blood. When you get cut on the scalp or really anywhere on your face, the capillaries are really close to the skin. And so you bleed a lot, even if it's not a very dramatic cut. But this spot back here looks very dramatic. So I'm a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, rushed as I'm coming in, because now I'm bleeding. There's a little elbow from me. I'm kind of pushing and pulling. I'm like using this forward and back, trying to keep off balancing her while we're clinching so that she can't really land on me and I can score almost exclusively. She's good at fighting. She just doesn't really have angles. I'm mad, so I threw a knee as I was ripping her down there. In Thai, being hot-headed or being emotional is called jairon. It means hot-hearted. And the opposite of this is jayen, which means like a cool heart, cool head. You want to be jayen. Like jayen yen is something that they'll say to you, which is like calm down. It's the kind of ning or composure that you want to have in a fight. This is what you're aiming for in terms of like the composure you have in a fight. It's exciting to see a jairon fighter, but on a scorecard, they don't really get rewarded. It's not a good idea to be jairon on a scorecard. Maybe for the audience, they like it. I'm jairon in this situation. I was mad at myself because I was not performing the way I'd wanted to given the sparring that I'd been doing with Yodkin Pan, but then I was like additionally pissed by being opened on the spot. And it's the most painful spot for a cut that I've had in my 200 plus stitches. And I've had it 3 times now, so I don't love this spot. Soleil, he's the guy in my corner in the red shirt. He's telling me to, when I have her locked in the clinch, to make more space for my knees. This is really important because when you're really, really close body like this and trying to throw knees, you're scoring, they're little points, but you're not damaging, like you're not hurting someone. You have to make that space in order to have the impact of your knees to knock someone out or to like really get the effect that you want. Diesel Noi will put his foot behind his other foot to create the space rather than bringing his hips back. I haven't quite gotten that down in a fight yet, but rocking your hips back or taking a little step back with the leg you're about to knee with is how you create that space. Or you can shove off with your forearms depending on the grip you have. She's fighting hard here. She hates when I come in and get this lock for very, very good reason. Soleil now is like, oi, oi, on like every knee I'm throwing. She basically wants me to be at this distance. And if I stay at this distance, it's actually really good for her. So I need to maybe not leap across the distance so much, but every time I grab her, it's pit bull style, my game, every time we're in this range. She doesn't know how to lock her hands or move her hands in a way to even stagnate my clinch. So we have very different advantages at our 2 different ranges. I think I got her in the head right there. I have blood on my forehead. It's my blood on my forehead. I think I got her in the chest or in the head on that knee because I had her bent over. You can see my mood. I'm coming in saying sorry for this, but I was not in a good mood. Despite having just won, even in my victory, I'm very jairon. She's okay. She's taking a minute to get up. But she was not fully out. But yeah, it's when you get kneed in the head or in the chest, depending on if it's like knocking the wind out of you or if you get it in your head, you can be very wrung. So she's just taking her time getting up, but she is okay. I'm getting out quickly and following Soleil to the back because there's this very weird thing, and Kevin has some really beautiful photos of it from coming back to the staging area, the green room, whatever you call it. I just won this fight. I was just very dominant in this fight. This is like all positive stuff, and I was really depressed. I felt awful. There are people cheering for me as I'm walking by. There are some people who ran over to say hi to me afterwards when I came back out after I'd been stitched up. This is all good stuff, and I should be very happy. Despite not doing the things that I had wanted to do before getting into the fight. You can't always do what you wanted to do without seeing what you're facing. And you can see this too, like with Kevin taking this footage here. I'll smile for the camera, but my face falls quite a lot. My corner was very happy with me. They were all very, very positive. Soleil's looking at the cut and he's like, yeah, we need to go get that stitched up. They were posing for a photo, and Dean's like, I'm filming. so we're like, let's look at this other one. But I think Kevin is filming also. At Patong, they have the red corner is over on the left, and the blue corner is over on the right, and the doctor is between. So I'm going to go into the doctor's room in a second and get stitched up. And I've told myself for many years, because I've had this kind of dark attitude after fights before, because I'm just disappointed in myself, or fights can be emotional. They're not supposed to be, but they can be. That if you don't let yourself celebrate when you win, you're definitely not going to feel good when you lose. So you really should take the opportunity when you win and when you're dominant to feel the positive notes there, because it's hard to find them when you lose. But yeah, I think the difficulty of expectation, or the kind of pressure you put on yourself of expectation for how you want to perform, is outside of the context of the pressure that a real person in front of you puts on you. Getting in a fight is not going and kicking someone's ass. Like, I think that people, when they first imagine going and fighting, they see it as this very one-sided feeling, in the way that pad work is often very one-sided, and maybe your pad man comes back at you a little bit, but you're really kind of the one doing all of the stuff. That's not what fights are actually like. People, even if they're not dominant on you, they're sticking their stick in the spokes of your bike while you're trying to go, and it can get into your head, and it's something that makes mental training very important. That was my opponent on the right just there. You saw her up and about. She's fine. This is the doctor, and he took a little bit to come backstage to stitch me up because he's the only doctor that night. So he's supposed to be ringside to watch the fights to make sure if someone needs him right away, he can like leap into the ring and take care of someone. And actually the fight before us had been a knockout. So he was taking care of that fighter for quite a while. And the reason it took so long for me to come lay down and get my stitches is because he had to attend to my opponent, and kind of, he's the only doctor on duty. So he's trying to like be in a lot of places at once. He took his time to do my stitches. He did really, really nice work on my stitches. But I don't get anesthetic. They don't inject you with anesthetic when they do stitches ringside. It's basically the adrenaline of having just come out of the fight that kind of makes it less painful than it would be if you were just, fine. So the longer they take to do the stitches, the worse the stitches are. And he did such a nice job, and he took his time with it. I ended up getting, I believe, 6. The first 2 were great. 5 and 6 sucked. They hurt so bad. Fight 273.
Hey, we're outside of Patong Stadium in Phuket, and I just fought fight 273. This was a rematch against Gulapphet. Her name means the Diamond Rose, which is actually a really cool name, but for some reason I have a really hard time. I like remember it and don't remember it at the same time, which is difficult. But we fought once before here, and today was a rematch. Last time I knocked her out in round 2, this time was round 3. I'm not super stoked on how I fought, I think because I kind of had a lot in my mind about what I wanted to do, which actually, with my 273 fights, I knew like 100 fights ago, maybe more, that if I have in my head something I want to do, I guarantee I will not do that thing. So I should have known that going in. But I fought well, even though I didn't do the things that I wanted to do. I'm grateful for everyone who came to support me. That's really awesome. Thank you guys so much. And we are going to, I got cut in round 2, I think. Was it 1?
1, I think.
Maybe it was round 1. I got cut by an elbow in round 1. I have 6 stitches in a spot that's really, really painful, but it's off my face, which is kind of nice. We have to go that way.
Okay.
So, yeah. Post-fight update. Thank you guys. We will have this fight up as soon as we can. And thank you to Dean for filming it for us. And yeah, that's just it.